So, I want to talk about the modern day education system and how it is more of an indoctrination system to lead more people into becoming corporate slaves than actually starting their own businesses or having the balls to actually do something by themselves. So, if you notice that I'm sitting in a more of a non-professional manner, like I was gonna sit like this, let me show you, sit like this, but it's just not as comfortable as just putting my feet on the table and just sitting back. And this reminds me of when I was in 8th grade. I remember that, I was more of first off, let me give you a little backstory. I was more of a shy kid back then. And I was a quiet kid, right? I didn't make too much noise, didn't get in trouble at all. I was like, I was raising my hand like a good boy. And then in 8th grade, I remember we had this movie day in our language arts class, and my teacher had gone out to get something, and I was sitting with my buddies. I was sitting like this actually, with my feet on the table, and my chair was leaned back a little next to the wall, just because it's more comfortable. And I was pretty tall for those chairs as well. I was a tall kid back then. So I was sitting like that, and the teacher comes in and she's shocked. She's like, Aston, what are you doing? I didn't expect this from you. I'm like, what? Okay, so I guess it's bad to sit like that. That's what I was thinking, right? But something that I never noticed back then, but I am able to figure it out now, is that the entire system of schooling is just designed to demasculine men, or what's the word I'm looking for? Emasculate, yeah, emasculate men and make them more submissive. So this whole thing in of itself, the example that I've given you, what's the underlying message here is what you gotta think about. Because why is it bad for a dude to sit the way he finds to be comfortable? What, just because it makes other people uncomfortable that this guy is sitting so comfortably with his feet on the table, that's why it's all of a sudden become immoral to sit like this? Isn't that crazy? And it's not just that, it's the whole raise your hand before you speak, ask for permission if you want to go use the bathroom, all these tiny things which you don't notice as a kid as to why they're making you do this. It's to make it more controllable, okay? They want you to rely upon them for permission. Now, it makes sense for kids to not just go out there by themselves and do whatever they want to. It makes sense, yeah. But even the whole thing with the way it's structured, even in universities or in high schools, I want to talk about university though, because to be honest with you, it does make sense for like teenagers to not be expected to do stuff on their own. But the problem is, even with that, guys aren't being taught how to take on masculine activities like wood chopping. Yeah, there's a class in that, but it's not required. Gym is an elective, it's not required. Weightlifting is an elective, it's not required. And any form of combat sports isn't even in the syllabus at all. So what are we exactly doing in high school in the first place? We're just sitting there and taking orders. We're learning how to take orders from somebody that's above us. So it's a whole system of where you are in this submissive form, okay? You ask for permission, and you are being told what to do. You're being guided. Yeah, you're being guided, but at the same time, you have to realize that it's not just that you're being guided, you're being taught how to take orders from somebody else instead of developing your own thinking. That's where the problem is. It's okay to teach students math, science, whatever, all these basic subjects. I agree, they gotta know them. But the issue is with the amount of controlling that goes on in schools. Okay? You know, initially universities, we all know how they were first founded by a Muslima, Fatima ibn Taymiyyah. I don't remember her name exactly, but I'll put it up there. So the whole reason why she came up with the whole concept of university was so that people can get educated. But the West took that and they turned it into a business. It's a huge business. I know that most people don't pay for public schools, but these schools still are getting paid by the government, right? So it's still a business. And that's a different topic of how the West stole everything from the Muslims and monetized it. That's a different topic, a different video. Today I want to focus more on how the education system in today's day and age is just a form of indoctrinating people into becoming corporate slaves. So let me talk about university now. So I'm currently doing an MBA, and one thing that I've noticed, which took me a while to notice, is that there isn't a single class in the required courses which you can take that'll teach you how to start your own business or how to use your money to multiply it in any way. I know that there's some like stock classes, but that's not required either. And I don't really believe in the whole concept of stocks. Why would you put your money in a company that you don't run yourself? Why would you put your bet into something that you cannot control, right? The whole point of knowing how to run a business is that you take your own money, you invest it in your own self, in your own company, and then that company makes the money that that company makes the money which you have earned. And then that's how you learn from your mistakes. You learn how to manage your failures. You learn how to mitigate tasks and everything so that the company can run in a more proficient manner in the future. But none of that is taught to the students. Majority of the classes in the MBA are either revolved around something like finance, something that's very technical, very focusing on the details of something. It's not the bigger picture at all. If you want to run a business, then you got to be better at looking at the bigger picture, which I'm going to get to in a second, by the way. But yeah, finance, something like managerial decisions, which you'd think that it teaches you how to run or how to manage people, right? But the issue is all these classes that talk about managerial skills, they're all being taught with the assumption that you are gonna manage people in a corporate world. So in a company that already exists, that you did not build by yourself, that's a company that's already striving. You are just a manager at that company and you're managing other people. And these are all like things that people look over. You think that, okay, it's teaching you how to manage, teaching you how to take care of finances, it's teaching me modern day technology with the whole importance of IT in the modern world and the modern businesses, but nobody has ever noticed that all of these things are just another way of focusing on the details. And that is always the job of the employee that's like underneath the hierarchy of the company. The CEO of the company is not focusing on how to troubleshoot a task in Excel or Microsoft or whatever. The CEO of the company is probably thinking about the bigger picture, right? Well, it's definitely the CEO of a company who looks at the bigger picture. he or she, well, let's just say for this case, most CEOs are he's, so anyway, he is looking at what is my goal of the year, what is my goal of the decade, or this new thing that came out, how can I implement that to make my company get to more profits? That's what the focus of the CEO is. It's the big picture. And then he puts that goal on the table to the other managers that are working underneath him and says, look, this is what I want this year from the company, and I want you guys to help me achieve this goal. And then those managers pass that goal down, they divide it up into pieces. This is what this manager needs to do, this is what that manager needs to do, and so on and so forth. And they divide it down to the workers that are working underneath them. And those managers, which are also, by the way, managers, right? This is hierarchy to managing as well. Those managers would pass it down to their employees, or the employees that are working under them, and then so on and so forth. And they would go all the way down to the person or to the group of team that isn't managing anyone or anything, whose just focus is to focus on the details of the problem. And then they work on the majority of the problem. Okay? And that's what they're teaching you how to do in universities. They're teaching you how to focus on the details. Nobody's teaching you that if you want to run your own company, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to work with your money, or you can use this amount of money instead of paying tuition. You can use some of that money that we give it to you, and you use that money to understand how to open your own business. That is something that can be done in a course. That would be a really good course for the students, where they use their tuition money and give some of it back to them, or just have them use some more of their own money in an MBA and teach them how to utilize that money into solving modern day problems and turn that problem solving skill into a business. But nobody's doing that. Nobody's teaching students nowadays how to be a leader. No one's teaching leadership skills. Everybody wants someone with leadership skills, but they actually just want another employee that knows how to follow orders, take orders, and then just work off that. So another thing that I want to talk about, something that I brought up earlier, is attention to detail thing. This is something that I have continuously noticed on every job application that I've applied to. They want an employee that is good at focusing on the attention to details, and for the longest time I kept putting this on my cover letter. Meticulous attention to detail, meticulous attention to detail. I kept putting it on and on until I took a break from applying to jobs, and I somehow, alhamdulillah, came upon this epiphany that I'm actually not good at focusing on the attention to details. I'm a lot better at focusing on the bigger picture. And I've never seen that skill being laid out on a job application that some company's looking for. They never want someone that's good at looking at the bigger picture, because what that means is you're not going to be a good employee. Because if you're focusing on the bigger picture, that means you're probably better off starting your own business. Because you'll be the one that'll lead everybody into whatever your goal is. You'll tell them, hey, this is what I want, and it's your job to focus on the details and accomplish those details with 100% accuracy, or whatever, 90% accuracy. You work on the details, I focus on the bigger picture, and your job is to come together and make the bigger picture a reality. Okay? So that whole attention to detail thing isn't the job of a manager, or I'm sorry, not the manager. It's not the job of a business owner. The business owner, only time when he has to focus on the details is when he's starting out. Because if there's no money, then you gotta do the work yourself. Like right now, I'm editing my own videos because I cannot afford to hire an editor. I'm not making any money from YouTube yet. So this business is just on its startup phase. I have to focus on the details myself, the way I want it to be edited, cropped, the way I want it to be, just the length of it, the sound of it, the way it looks, the color grading. I have to focus on that myself. I can outsource that and that would save a lot of time, but I think it's okay if I edit some of these videos myself. I tried outsourcing some of my videos and I didn't really like the way they turned out. They were good, but they weren't really my type of videos, you know. So I think it's better if I just focus more on the output of creating as much videos as possible at the moment, rather than having to be really high quality and they're not reaching anybody. But that's a different tangent. Coming back to the topic of modern day education system and how it's more of a schooling and not really educating students, is that basically what I just said. If you notice around you, you're gonna, okay, here's what I want you to do. If you're in university, this is a perfect moment to test this out. Go up to like random students in your class or even on your campus and ask them what their major is and what they plan on doing after they graduate. Most likely they're gonna tell you any CS major or engineering major, accounting, business, medical, any of these. Their goal at the moment is gonna be to find an internship. And that's something that gets to every student. Like, everybody's always asking, did you get an internships? Did you get any internships? Did you get any internships? Like a bot. You just keep on asking this question and applying for internships, but nobody's thinking, and even I didn't think about this back when I was in the undergrad days. So I can't even blame y'all for this. Just the way it is, it's the system. Is that, why don't you, instead of trying to look for an internship, why don't you try to strategize how you can use your current skills that you're learning in your classes to possibly start your own business? Or, this is a better way to look at it. Don't look at it as a business. Look at it as a way to solve a problem for the people that are struggling through maybe the same problem that you are going through, or a problem that you came across in one of your classes. Like, for example, you can build an app if you're a software engineer. Build an app, Android app, iOS app, for any problem that you may be facing in your own life. That would be something that's a lot better than just mindlessly, blindly applying to internships and not getting any responses at all. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be applying to internships at all. I think you should, because it's okay. It's actually not bad to it's actually not bad to get that experience of how things go on in a big company or even in a startup. I think startups are a lot better to work for than to work for a big corporation, because from my experience, I have worked in a big automotive company in the past, and the type of shit you're going to be doing is very technical. You're not going to understand the bigger picture until you're like near the end of your project. And that is like way too long. Some of these projects can last like 2 years. So for 2 years, you're just going to be working, not knowing what the heck you're doing. How does that connect to the company making money? Like, what's the point of whatever you're doing? It's only going to make sense after you are near the end of the project, and those 2 years probably wouldn't be worth it to spend it on something you don't give a shit about. So it's better off you work in a startup. Preferably, I recommend you work at a startup, even if they pay you a little less. It's okay, because you're learning a lot more at a startup than you would be in a big company. The type of knowledge you could gain from a startup goes beyond what you're actually doing at work. It goes towards, okay, so this person is a CEO. Because because the team is so little, the employees are like maybe under 100, maximum 200, but that's like pushing it. Majority of the startups have only like 10, 15, maximum 50 employees from what I know. So it's really easy for you to understand what each person is doing, what each team is doing, and how that connects to the bigger picture. And it's going to be a lot better for you to utilize those skills into becoming a better entrepreneur yourself. So once you're done with your internship, you can, most likely you're going to get offered a full-time position. I wouldn't mind taking it right off university, to be honest with you, because at the beginning you need money, you need skills, yeah, but you also need the money to take care of yourself, to learn, to be able to afford that time that you won't be working at that company to work on your own business. You need money to keep a living, right? But once you generate a certain amount of money, that's when you have to understand, okay, I need to step out of this company and work on my own business now. But that's after university. That's after you have this whole mentality of knowing what you want to go for and understanding why you're doing what you're doing. So yeah, I've given you the problem with the modern day education system, which is that it leads you to becoming a modern day slave. But what is the solution, is what you might be wondering. And the solution is actually not that complicated. It's that, okay, most likely, we gotta be realistic about this. Most likely, you are gonna go to university and you're gonna get a bachelor's degree. You are gonna get a bachelor's degree for sure. Even if you're gonna go for master's, certainly if you're watching this, if you're a Muslim man, most likely your parents are gonna force you to go to university and get a bachelor's, and that's okay. To get a bachelor's, and that's okay. You can go for that. You should go for that, probably, for different reasons, not because it's necessarily going to help you in your entrepreneurship journey, but it is going to help you in getting better, better proposals for marriages. If you're a man, that's going to help you out a lot more. So for that reason, I recommend you go to university. But besides that, you can go to university and actually be more of a chameleon and know what your end goal is, which is not to work for another company, but to actually utilize whatever skills you're learning to start your own business. And if you're majoring in something like software engineering, then you're gonna have a ton of opportunities, or I should say a ton of niches that you can go into depending on whatever you like the most, and start off your entrepreneurship journey with something like that. Something like, for example, you could do mobile apps, you could do web development, solve a problem for people on the web, right? Just make a website that solves a specific problem. It can be anything, honestly. All you have to do as an entrepreneur or as a business owner is figure out a problem, you find a problem, and then you figure out a solution to that problem, and all you do is charge the fees for that. At the beginning, you don't have to, just so you can get the testimonials. That's what's recommended. And then after you get a few testimonials, then you start charging a little, then a little more, then a little more, then a little more than that. But yeah, I will say this though, don't look down on the education system still, because you have to look at it from their point of view. Most people are not entrepreneurs. They don't have what it takes to become a business owner. Heck, we don't even know if you and I have what it takes to become a business owner. This is just me talking and pointing this out. most people are okay with working a 9 to 5. Most people are okay with working for a company. But for people like you and I, we are like the outliers. We do not want to work for another company for the rest of our lives. That's why you clicked on this video, right? Or that's probably why you're subscribed to my channel, because you want to learn how to become a better entrepreneur through my mistakes and my journey of entrepreneurship. So I wouldn't change a lot about the modern education system, except for that there should be a place in universities where students are allowed to embark on an entrepreneurship journey where they don't have to worry about paying extra just to start on their own business. Because if you're in this really big really big system, then the university should be able to afford to give a few students some loans or some funding so that they can try to start their own business and embark on that journey themselves. That's my only concern, because again, most people are not cut out to be entrepreneurs. Most people are not cut out to start their own businesses. It's only a few people that are, and let's just keep it at that. I feel like I'm repeating myself, so I hope you have gained some sort of value from this video. If you have, please consider liking the video and hitting the subscribe button, and inshallah I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace out.